Well, welcome everyone. And it's good to see so many people on the call tonight. And this is the 8th Partner in Action webinar. It's the foundation of the Partner in Action webinar, which comes from the communication model, Predator-Prey Partner. This is a body of work that was developed by my sister, Pat Kirkland. If you want to know more about Pat or her work, you can visit patkirklandleadership.com. So I want to pass it over to Nicola so she can give you some overview on technical points.
Thanks, Amy. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to run through quickly just a few notes for you to remember. This call is an audio only and the session will be recorded. So if possible, please find a quiet spot to listen and partake. In order to keep the quality of the line high, please use a headset and mute your microphone when you're not speaking. I'll also be in the background muting you automatically, so don't worry too much if you forget how to do it. If you're calling in on a phone, like a normal handheld phone, press *6, mute, to unmute, to mute and unmute, and *9 to raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question. If you're calling via your computer or iPad directly through the Zoom app, click on the microphone symbol in the bottom left corner of your screen to mute or unmute, and to raise your hand, click on Participants, then Raise Hand. You could ask a question or make a comment by raising your hand or by using the chat box. And finally, if you're having trouble with either option, unmute yourself and practice the art of interrupting. That's it for now. Thank you. Back to Amy.
Thanks, Nicola. Today's call is going to be interactive. You submitted prior to the call. This is going to be a combination then of both the discussion and the spot coaching with me, laser coaching people on their issues. And we're going to be focusing both on the behaviors as well as your mindset that are discussed in the Predator-Prey Partner program. So whether or not it's a challenge that you submitted, you're welcome to participate in the discussion and volunteer to be coached. And this is where you're stretching your out of your comfort zone muscles. You may be doing some writing, so feel free to have a paper and pen near you. And definitely don't be driving a vehicle if you're doing that. The call, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to have a couple of different parts. We're going to be looking both at success stories and challenges, and actually a third category, questions or comments that you might have. And it's not going to go in any particular order, so feel free to be brave and raise your hand if you want to make a comment or ask a question at any point. And Nicola mentioned how you can do that with the chat box or raising the participant icon. Now, the one thing I'm going to really encourage you to do is practice the 4-sentence rule. We've got almost 50 people that have signed up for tonight's call. And so we want to be very laser-like. It may take a minute or two for me to respond if you've sent messages. Though whenever you are speaking, do your best to be very concise in your question or comments. If you're someone who got this webinar invitation forwarded to you and you haven't attended one of my workshops before, I'm delighted you're joining. Most people on the call have attended either a workshop or an intensive training with me. So it's possible that not everything I will be discussing tonight will make perfect sense or you may agree with. So my request is, as I've said in many of my trainings, you don't have to like what I say. You don't have to agree with it. Just stay open to it. And over the coming weeks, practice the behaviors to see what starts to change as you get better and better at these behaviors and the mindset. Let me give you a short overview and a review for either people who are new or the people it's been a while that you've been thinking of the Predator-Prey Partner model. The main concepts when I refer to these 3 archetypes is that the predator is someone who holds too much respect for him or herself and not enough for others. Now, this is problematic because although they may get results short term, they ultimately damage relationships, which reduces trust, safety, and loyalty. Whereas the prey, and that's P-R-E-Y, is someone who's usually really nice, avoiding conflict at all costs. And the challenge for the prey is that they may want to avoid conflict. The problem is they could damage their credibility. They could damage results. And worse yet, they could trigger someone to become a predator towards them. So the idea and the invitation is step in partner. Step in partner before you need to. Step in partner, stay in partner when the going gets tough. And remain in partner even if you don't get what you want. Okay, so with that in mind, let's jump in. We have 3 communication challenges that you voted on for today's call. The highest voted, the one that received the most votes was not come across as aggressive when you're being direct. The second most popular one was saying, I don't know, without losing credibility. And the third one, dealing with a predator in the family. And keep in mind, you do not need to name the names of guilty parties on tonight's call. You're welcome to change everybody to whatever fictional name you'd like to use. Tonight, I have several people who have stepped up to say that they'd be willing to be coached, or at least you mentioned that you had a coaching issue. So I really want to double check now to see who's happy to be coached. And the names I received, I know, Ron, you said you'd be happy to be coached. Yours is an interesting challenge that we're going to jump into. Also, I have Deborah, Anna, and Sabine. So let me know if you would like at some point to be coached tonight, assuming we have enough time for everyone. And you can do that simply by sending a brief text. And I think, Nicola, here we go. There's been one chat that was sent.
That was me, I think, sending the information through to everybody for how to raise their hands. I also think, Amy, you may have cut out when you said all three names. I didn't hear the third name. I think you missed Anna.
Okay, yes, thanks. I said Deborah, Anna, and Sabine.
Great.
Ron, thanks. You've raised your hand. That's super. Thank you for that. Who else is comfortable? Sabine, yes, you're happy to be coached. Wonderful. And Mendogas, awesome. You're happy to be coached. Okay, great. So we're going to jump in. And Ron, we want to start with you because, boy, listen to this one, guys. Ron's challenge is how to deal with a narcissist. All right, Ron. So in your best overview, give us an idea of what the challenging situation is or what the relationship is with this person.
This person is a friend of my brother.
Okay.
And it's a she. And she used him to exploit him and let him do things he isn't used to.
Yeah.
And actually didn't want to do. And now she dropped him very hard, and that hurt him very much. There's a problem with this because I would develop her website, and now I'm in dubio what to do.
Say that last part again, Ron, about the website.
I would develop her website. She has an institute, and now I'm in dubio to what to do.
Okay. Oh, wow. This is really complex. So let's see if I'm clear on it. Your brothers have this friend who has mistreated him. Maybe it feels like you feel like he's been manipulated by this woman. And you have a business contract or agreement with her to work on her website.
Not a business agreement, but yes, I have an agreement with her to develop her website. A
verbal agreement. Okay, got it. Okay, so Ron, I think I want to really first start by saying how I sense that you probably feel a lot of pain and frustration and sadness for your brother having gone through this experience, and to maybe even feel a bit helpless to help him.
Don't feel helpless because he wasn't hurt that much that he couldn't recover. He did, and he has a good life now, and he just ignores her. Mm-hmm. And that's the best thing you can do with a narcissist.
Mm-hmm. So
that's actually my problem. I promised her to develop her website.
Yeah.
And I still think I have to do that because it's a promise. I won't break promises.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can really hear that for you, one of your highest values and strengths is to be a man of your word and to have integrity and follow through.
Exactly.
Yeah, got that. And
my idea is to just develop the website, and when it's finished, tell her how to maintain it and then get my hands off it.
Yeah. 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 Wouldn't that be lovely if that's exactly how it all worked?
Yes.
And yet I am wondering if there's a part of you that's a little suspicious that you are fearful that you're going to get sucked into her spell, so to speak.
Yes, she's sucking your energy, and that's exactly what narcissists do.
Yeah.
And then drop you.
And also, Ron, it may also be true that you're spending a lot of energy protecting yourself from being impacted by her too.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's almost like it's a no-win situation. You're on guard regardless.
My idea is to finish the website as soon as I can, and then let it go and don't think about it and ignore her.
So part of me is listening from the view of, is there a predator-prey challenge in this conversation? Because I'm not convinced that narcissists, whether they're someone who even we just perceive as narcissistic, if they truly are, can be impacted and influenced by these behaviors and mindset. I'm not convinced of that. I think
Can you explain? I don't understand.
Sure. There's a small percentage of people in the world, from my experience, that are not going to we can't positively influence them no matter how good a partner we are.
Yes.
And if she's truly this type of narcissist that you're describing, I'm suspect that that whatever you do will work. You may do everything correctly and it may still not work.
Yes.
And there is something, I think I may have written a newsletter on the 5% Club. Nicola, if you have a minute, maybe you can check to see if there's anything written on that. We can offer that on the call. The 5% Club, that's sort of those people who can't be influenced no matter what, Ron.
Right.
So I think what's interesting to me is this very, very high standard you have for yourself. And I think a lot of people with high integrity do this, and they, no matter, and I'm challenging you here. I don't know if this is true, Ron. Here's my concern. No matter what the cost to you, you will maintain your word.
That's right.
Is that too high a price to pay?
It could be. So that's why I'm wondering how to handle this and keep her on a safe distance when I'm developing the website, because she's stalling to give me information. They say they keep you on a rope,
Ron, so here's what this is not pure coaching here, because my invitation to you is consider the alternative. What would it look like if you were to choose to what's the word I want? End this relationship here and now without following through on your promise?
I'm not sure what she's gonna do. I think I feel I failed, because I'm a man of my words and keep my promise, even if people misuse me or abuse me.
Wow. So it's like
sometimes you become the victim then.
Yeah. And sometimes we have to have that experience a couple times in life in order to learn that lesson, or to decide, is that too high a price for me to pay?
Yes.
And so I'm going to suggest that we pause this coaching here, because this is definitely a very different conversation than about predator-prey partner. As I said earlier, I don't think the behaviors and the mindset are something that are necessarily going, no matter how good a partner you are, may not work. Though I'd like to suggest that, Ron, you and I we schedule a time to chat further about this, and to see if you'll be willing to look at what's behind that that expectation you have of yourself that no matter how you get treated, you're going to maintain your word. Because I'm not convinced that if I were to say to you, hey, Ron, I've got this situation where this person, she's really taking advantage of me, and except I promised her this thing, I'm not sure you would be sitting there saying, yeah, Amy, that's tough luck, girl. You promised. A promise is a promise.
Yes, that's right.
So
okay, I understand what you're saying. It's
great. So just play with that. Let that just mull over in your mind. Loosen it up a little bit. And I think there's a little bit of opportunity, not more than there's an opportunity to help maybe remove some limiting beliefs you have around these standards you have around if a promise is a promise is a promise no matter what.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so just reach out to me, Ron, sometime, and I'm happy to have that conversation with you.
Thank you very much.
Great. Okay, so I think Sabine, you were, and Mindaugas and Sabine. So Sabine, let's move to you. You had said how to come across being direct without being perceived as aggressive. Do I remember that correctly? Sabine, I think you're still.
Is it unmuted now?
It is. Perfect.
Good evening.
Good evening. Great to hear your voice.
Yes, the problem is that when I try to be direct, or I think I'm direct, and it happens to me in the professional context with colleagues, it happens to me with my husband, it happens to me with my nieces, my sisters, that I am not aware of coming across as aggressive.
So it sounds like we have enough of a feedback from that it's in multiple areas of your life that perhaps it's not them. So I love that you're saying, okay, what do I need to do differently?
Exactly.
What do you know? What little bits are you aware either before, during, or after being told that you're too direct?
It's normally in situations of stress where I have a very clear objective, which I think I have to push through whatever come or may come.
Okay, that is very clear.
Yes, unfortunately, but I don't realize it until it's too late.
That's okay. And I'm going to invite you to make sure you practice replacing the word "but" with an alternative option. So, Sabine, this is good because you have a very clear qualities that identify when you're at risk, when you're feeling under stress, when you have a clear objective that sounds like you're quite attached to a certain outcome. Is that accurate?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, great. So, tell me about some times, give me a concrete example, either in your personal life or your professional life.
I wanted with my sisters and my nieces to go through the heritage of my parents.
Sabine, let me interrupt a second. I've got one request from Karen. Karen, you said repeat Sabine's statement. I'm not sure what statement she made. Her challenge is how to be direct without being perceived as aggressive. And she realizes that the moment she's likely to be too much like that is when she's feeling under stress and she's attached to a clear objective. Does that answer your question? Great. Thanks, Karen. Okay. So, Sabine, thanks for letting me interrupt. Please continue.
Two brief examples, one personal. Trying to go with my three sisters and two nieces through the heritage from my parents, the photos and the letters. We had a weekend for that. And of course, it is a very, very stressful, emotional situation.
Right.
We had that objective. We only had that weekend. It was impossible. And I wanted absolutely to pass on the messages to the younger ones. That's when, at the second day, everybody turned against me and saying, Sabine, it's really impossible to cope with you and you can't continue like that, etc.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You had such good intentions, and that must have been hard.
nobody was doubting my good intentions, but apparently the way of getting them done.
Right. Okay, good. So they were able to separate it some way and somehow, and still is frustrating for them. And I think it's important to appreciate that because you said it was an emotional time and that was impacting you as well as them. So they were maybe not having the strongest resources in the moment either.
Correct.
Okay, so I want you to tell me that situation again about the heritage and the 3 sisters and the 2 nieces. And I want you to say it 4 times slower. Almost like you're a little bit bored.
There was the situation when we had all gathered, my sisters and my nieces and a nephew, to go through the photos and letters and heritage from my parents.
Pause a second, from my parents.
From my parents, thank you.
Good.
We only had...
And Sabine, we have a request for you to speak louder.
Good. We only had this weekend of 2 days. So I wanted by all means to finish being together with all of them. We were 7 persons to finish the sorting out of these documents.
Beautiful. So Sabine, I'm already, and anybody who wants to make comments, feel free to write in the chat. There was a noticeable difference between the first description and the second description. The first description, it was faster. There was more emphasis on words. You used a word like absolute. I think you said absolutely or must or something like that. So there was a sense of not quite panic, the sense of urgency and pressure and stress. And what you're doing through speed and emphasis of words is all of this is energy. And so the first round, it was creating a sense of intense energy and potentially anxiety. And the second was just very matter of fact. This is what it is. So my friend, this is going to be one of the essence of the behaviors that will allow you to be able to say what you need to say, express yourself, though in a way that people are less likely to receive it as an ultimatum and aggressive.
Great.
So that's the first thing, 4 times slower. The second thing, Sabine, do you have a hard time not interrupting people?
Yes.
Yeah, welcome to my club.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure. I'll be sending out a membership shortly. So, Sabine, this is another skill that's going to really help you is practice the active listening. I've made a video on it. Nicola, do you know if the active listening video is up and running yet, or are we going to be launching that soon? Just let me know in the chat. You can mention it to everyone. So you're going to want to hone your active listening skills, Sabine, so that when you're feeling that agitation or frustration, you want to interrupt, you continue to say, yep, right, I see. And then you say to your sister Ursula, if I understand correctly, you're suggesting we blah, 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 even if it's something completely contradictory to what your idea is or your plan is. So you want to slow everything down. You want people to feel heard and respected. And the irony is when they feel heard and respected and safe, because you're going slow, they're going to be much more open to your perspective, your opinion.
Great.
We have to admit, Sabine, your ideas are probably the best ones anyway. We'll just keep that between us.
You have a club for that as well?
Yes, I do. It's the Amy, you're right, you're always right club. So the part of the challenge is, even if your idea, your suggestion, your plan is the best one, because they feel perceived as feeling attacked or they're feeling the stress or not feeling the respect, they're going to reject your idea just because their ego is triggered.
Mm-hmm.
So in review, you're going 4 times slower. You're going to avoid interrupting. You're going to do active listening and then summarize what you heard them say. You're also going to remove the word but.
Oh God, yeah. It's difficult.
Yes. Have you been practicing 3 to 5 minutes a day in low stress situations?
Promise.
Okay, that's what will remove it. If I can do it, I know you can do it. And it will make your life so much easier. And you may want to reread that newsletter. That's number 4 or number 6 about all the alternative expressions in English that you can use to replace but. So, Sabine, do you want to practice now with all those piece suggestions I've made? Now I'm going to be one of your sisters, or I'll be all of the 6 other people, your sisters and your nieces and your nephew. And you're now going to make a very strong request that you're attached to. So let's hear how that will sound, the new and improved version.
Look, we only...
Oh, no, pause. No. Yeah, let's never start a sentence with look. Because it sounds like, look, you idiots.
Okay.
So something a little more relaxed, more casual. So I have a suggestion, everyone. How about that?
Good. I have a suggestion, everyone.
Nope. Pause slower and give me a downward inflection when you say everyone. Nice and slow. I have a suggestion, everyone.
I have a suggestion, everyone.
Oh, beautiful. That was fabulous. Really nice.
Why don't we use this weekend to really get through these materials, the photos? I know it's difficult.
No. So you make your request and then stop. Don't do a sales pitch on top of it.
Good.
Okay, that was brilliant. And also what might be different than other times is, Sabine, that time we had you say, I have a suggestion, as opposed to another way you might do it, which is, okay, this is what we're going to do. Right? So you're shifting from directive mode to suggestion mode.
Mm-hmm.
And you see how for an adult, that's even for children, that's more appealing to hear it. Well, I suggest we start getting ready for bed, everyone. So there's just a gentleness at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Did you want to say something, Sabine?
No, it really sounds nice the way you put it. I have a suggestion. Why don't we go to bed?
Right. And it's amazing how just the packaging can have such an impact. So in review, if I rewind, I want to make more of a point here about the very beginning. It's brilliant. Once again, I said this earlier, that you know that it's when you're under stress and you have a clear objective, and most likely you're attached to that objective. So you want to get into the habit of getting very conscious when you're in that space and realize, this is I'm in the yellow zone. This is danger. This is, moving towards potential danger. What do I need to do to relax? It might be I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to get a glass of water, or I'm going to rehearse how I would say this as a partner, or I'm going to check, how I'm going to go practice active listening, whatever it might be. So you know that from the very beginning, the yellow flag is waving and you've got to be on hyper alert. You won't have to do this all the time and every time. This will start at some point, it starts to become natural and intuitive. Though when you're in high stress moments, or when, in one of those moments when you're hungry, angry, lonely, tired, those could also trigger stress.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is, and you're going to want to practice, along with getting rid of the word but, you're going to want to practice speaking slower. You're going to want to practice using the downward inflection. You're going to want to practice letting yourself be interrupted and interrupting others. I just added that new one about letting yourself be interrupted. So these are all the behaviors you're going to want to practice 3 to 5 minutes a day in low stress moments. And probably you need to separate them out, not practice everything at once. That might be a little overwhelming.
Everything at once will make it very, very slow, what I'm saying.
When I say everything at once, I'm saying you're practicing downward. So I'm suggesting don't practice everything at once. So ideally in the real world, once it's like you're juggling. You practice one ball, and then after you got the one ball up and down, you're at a second and a third, etc.
Right.
So you add them over time, and then in the situation, it's not slowing you down so much because you're starting to do some of this intuitively. Though we're having you speak with that slower pause, the pace, the energy, the downward inflection, avoiding but, letting yourself be interrupted. And yes, it will slow you down somewhat. There's a great expression you might appreciate. You got to go slow to go fast.
Good. I'll jot that down.
Great. Wonderful. Anything else you want to comment on, Sabine, or recap from this exchange?
That was great help and really useful. Is these or are these hints and tips what a partner would do?
Precisely, because what you're doing is you're modeling holding high respect for yourself by asking for what you want, by not over apologizing, for not sounding hesitant. And you're holding high respect for the other by making a request, not a demand, by maybe use their name to show respect, by controlling the energy so that they feel that they're being treated with respect.
Super. Thanks a lot, Amy.
My pleasure, Sabine. All right. Let's see. Mendogas, are you ready?
Yeah. Hi, Amy. Nice to hear you again.
You too. Thanks for joining.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. So I'm a manager at my company, and I have two groups, like two teams, who at different levels of predator and prey. Uh-huh. One is R&D and another is manufacturing. And these two teams, when dealing with these two teams, I have a challenge of retuning to different levels of partnership. Mm-hmm. As you could imagine, manufacturing team is used to be more kind of aggressive and direct approach. Yeah. While R&D are like more sophisticated and like polite and soft approach people. Yeah. And in some cases, they need to work in joint teams and getting the things done when asking for something to be done without switching to the predator mode and having active consent is sometimes a challenge. And my challenge either to try them to level them up to the same kind of level or develop a skill to basically being able to retune on the fly of what kind of level. Okay, yeah.
Good. So I want to interrupt a moment. I want to comment on how beautifully you were at the first half. You structured really well. It was really crisp. It was very clear to hear you. You were going slow. You were pausing. You were giving me time to digest it. That was great. You're also doing a good job with downward inflections. There are some filler sounds for you to think about and work on in the future. That's just a side note for you. Mm-hmm. And the other piece is it started to get too long for my 7:30 p.m. brain. Okay. 8:30 your time, I know. And so I started to get a little bit overwhelmed. So what you want to do is you want to chunk it down more and then pause a really long time to see if the other person wants to intervene. Mm-hmm. So now I'm going to have you rewind, and I want you to go back to the part, and then you're going to give me this last section, hopefully in 4 sentences if you can. So we're up to the part where R&D is more sophisticated, manufacturing tend to be more predator. Now take it from there and explain the challenge, and help me understand if the challenge is for you directly or for these teams. That part's not clear for me, where you want to focus the coaching.
Yes. So I have a challenge of retuning to these different levels when asking for something.
Got it.
Getting consent. And if I don't get into the mode when I need to switch to the predator, and that sometimes becomes a challenge when I cannot get consent. Okay, I snap to predator mode, which I would like to avoid and train how could I retune myself and how to keep in a controlled mode.
Okay. So do you find yourself going predator with both teams, whether they're also predator or prey?
I would say that I start more from the prey position, and when it doesn't work, I could snap just to the predator mode. And it's the challenge that I have personally, that I could be in a soft mode for too long before it's like getting too much, and then just kind of finding the middle sometimes gets a challenge.
Yeah, and Mendogas, what you just said kind of reminds me of a little bit of Ron's. Your issue is that for many of us Mendogas, we wait far too long before we move to a space of assertiveness or limit setting. And we can pay a very high price with this. And as you can see, you flip-flop between the prey and the predator. So I'm delighted to hear that you have such awareness of your behaviors. Did you realize that before you went through the executive presence course?
Not really.
Okay.
That course really helped to identify myself.
Fabulous.
Where am I?
Okay, great. All right, so here's the thing, Mendogas, and I think I said this a little bit earlier on the call, partly. I want to repeat it again. The idea is step in partner before you need it. Stay in partner when the going gets tough. And remain in partner even if you don't get what you want. That, my friend, is your new motto.
Okay.
All right, so you realize you're showing up as to prey.
Yeah.
So, and that's what might be triggering some of them to become predator towards you.
Yeah.
That's the good news and the bad news. So, my belief is if you can hone your partner behaviors from the very beginning, then you'll be less likely to get triggered as predator. Though you're going to need to give them give them a window of about 2 weeks of them being consistently exposed to your new and improved partner before they're going to respond and react appropriately. What I mean by that is, when you may remember, we talked about this in the course, if there's 2 different levels where you've got someone who's being a predator, you're showing up as prey, and now you're going to recalibrate to partner. That predator isn't going to like that, and they're going to become temporarily even more predator in the hopes of getting you to go back to being prey. So it may look like it's blowing up in your face. It may look and actually get worse before it gets better. So you want to be prepared for that. And so if it gets a little bit worse, a little bit more uncomfortable, that's actually a sign of progress, potentially. And so knowing that, so let's imagine I'm one of these let's call them Albert. And Albert would I be from the R&D team or manufacturing team? Albert's like the most challenging individual you have in both of these teams. I want to do a role play with you, and I'm going to be Albert the predator.
Okay.
And would I be in the R&D team or the manufacturing team?
Manufacturing.
All right. Yes, I am. Of course I am. So now you're going to come to me. You know I'm a predator, and you've got to make a strong request to me. So let's hear how that might sound. And would you be doing this face-to-face or over the phone?
Face-to-face.
Okay, that's one thing that can help. And it can also be more challenging because we have a lot more things to manage. Though for tonight, over the phone, obviously we're going to be working mostly the quality of your voice sounds and the words you're using.
Okay.
Okay, start whenever you like.
Okay, so Albert, I need you.
Okay, 2 things. You started with a filler sound, so that's sabotaging your credibility. So this is why you're going to absolutely have to remove the filler sounds.
Okay, I'll need to practice that.
Yes, we might do a little bit of it tonight, though I'm confident you'll be able to work on that. Get one of your colleagues to coach you from the program. Second thing, Mindaugas, is when you said Albert, you did it with an upward inflection. Albert, so come in stronger. Hi, Albert, how are you doing? So even ask me a question and give me a downward inflection when you ask.
Okay. Hi, Albert. How are you doing?
It was good. It was very good. Yeah, I'm okay, Mindaugas. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Pause. No. Say it like you mean it. I'm fine. So I want what I call more vocal variation. I'm fine. Thank you.
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. So the thank you, you had that downward inflection. There was vocal variation that sounded like you really meant it. And a partner is someone who's at ease and comfortable taking up time and space. And they always sound like they're, I'm in a good mood. All is well. So that's what you want to be holding in the back of your mind. All is well.
Okay. Albert, I need you to sort out these warehouse codes by Thursday.
Okay, so from my perspective, especially as a manufacturing guy who's a predator, that's more directive than what works for my ego.
Mm-hmm. So what would be the right balance?
So ask me again, and instead of saying, Albert, I need you to, how about something like, what did you say? They're called sorting codes?
Yeah, manufacturing, like warehouse codes, like you need for some product.
So here's a great way to project respect for someone else. So you've done hi, Albert, how are you doing? He says, fine, great. Hey, Albert, I wanted to check in with you about something. Do you have a few minutes now? So here you are, the boss, coming to this guy, asking permission to speak to him. And showing lots of respect for him and his time without doing it in a submissive way.
That's the challenging part.
Right. So let's hear you say it. You're doing upbeat and friendly. You're approaching as if he's your peer. So you're equal. Hey, Albert. Hey, no, downward reflection. Hey, Albert. How you do, blah, blah. Do you have a few minutes now? I'd like to talk about the sorting codes.
Yeah. Hi, Albert. So would you have a few minutes?
Hold on a second. Let's do an exchange. So when you say hi, Albert, wait for me. And then I want a downward inflection. So more friendly downward inflection. Hi, Albert.
Hi, Albert.
Good. Hi, Mindaugas.
Hi. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I got a little golf in over the weekend. It was good. Then I played some basketball. How about you?
Yeah, nice. I had a great weekend too.
Cool.
Would you have a few minutes for me now?
Ooh, that was good. Downward inflection. Yeah, sure, Mindaugas. What's up?
We need to sort these warehouse codes.
Pause. I thought of a great phrase. Start the sentence with, I need your help.
Okay. With your help sorting these warehouse codes.
Oh, yeah? What's up?
Yeah, we need them to have in order by this Thursday.
Oh, wow. That's a quick turnaround time.
What would you reckon would be feasible?
I guess we could get it done by Thursday. We just need to prioritize it. Yeah. Okay, so pause. So brilliant, Mindaugas. You allowed for space. You received my comment as if it was a pushback when I said, oh, that's a tight turnaround time. And you immediately showed flexibility by suggesting that time could be shifted if it needed to be. And assuming that Albert's a reasonable and professional individual, he's not going to push back just to push back. You're now making me feel, as being Albert, you're making me feel like I have power to choose if I want to. I'm feeling the respect. I sense that you're still holding plenty of respect for yourself. So my desire to give you what you want is very high at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's pause for a second. So Mindaugas, what are all the things that you're doing internally in your mind as well as externally that's making this exchange work so far?
Okay.
Can you tell me what it is that you're the things I'm coaching you on? What are you noticing?
Yeah. So basically, controlling what you are saying, controlling the pace. These are kind of the two most straightforward things.
Mindaugas, as you're giving this feedback, I'd like you to use the words I instead of you. So make this very personalized. What I'm doing differently, or how about this? What I will be doing differently going forward is.
Okay. What I would be doing differently is changing the pace and thinking about the phrases that I'm saying also from the perspective of other person expecting me to be a partner. So that is, of course, tough when you need to think.
when I need to think.
Yeah, when I need to think from two persons' perspective at the same time. So at least that's what I kind of sense from your suggestions now, how it should be going.
I think we can simplify it. I think you can say because you're going to want to rehearse these phrases before you approach people until you gain some confidence and ease that you're doing this, that it's starting to become more natural, more intuitive. Instead, you can say, now, if my boss approached me and said, I need you to blah, 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 and then you can already see, ooh, that would annoy me. Or, if my boss said to me, hey, Mindaugas, do you have a few minutes? I'd like to talk to you about something. Oh, I like that. So what you can do is imagine you're that person. How would you receive the comments? Mm-hmm. And you're doing it and another generic way to think, I want to hold high respect for the other and high respect for myself. I'm in a great mood. How would that sound? Because with just a bit of that guidance, you were able to do it quite well.
Okay. So I think mirror practice also would help.
Yes. Yeah. Or the other thing to do is use, and this is a recommendation for everyone, I'm always encouraging people to use the audio app on your phone. And if you don't have one, download a free one. You then take it, record what you would say to somebody, and then play it back. And you can sense, oh, I thought I was slow enough. It wasn't. It was too fast. Oh, I did filler sounds. Oh, I did an upward inflection. Oh, I said but. So you'll catch all of those things.
Okay.
And this is my sense is if you're doing this with both a predator and a prey, you won't have to be retuning constantly. You're going to hold one space of balance of high respect for yourself and the other. You'll need to adjust accordingly. If you've got someone who's being really aggressive, you might bring in more of the perceived confidence behaviors of more pausing, certainly downward inflection. If you've got somebody who's more prey, you may do more smiling or maybe ask more questions. So you could adjust slightly, though the zone of partner will work pretty well for both sides.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thanks. Some food for thought and training.
Wonderful. Thanks, Mindaugas. Okay, great. All right. So we've got just about 10 minutes remaining. And I wanted to check to see if there's anybody else who would like to jump in and say something. I see there's somebody, Alan, whose last name is Allen. You said you'd be happy to be coached. Let's see who's that. Now it is Nadia. I was like, why do I know that last name? Yes, Nadia. Great. So Nadia, let me just check, see Nadia, if there is anybody else who's burning to make a comment or question. And then Nadia, I'll invite you to give me your 4-sentence overview and we'll do about 5 minutes of coaching. So is there anyone else who's burning with a comment or question? All right. I have counted my 5 seconds. I'm going to assume that means everyone's feeling satisfied. So thank you, Ron. So now let me hear from Nadia. Nadia, what's present for you tonight? And you're still on mute.
Buttock muscle.
Perfect.
Hoping will go well.
Okay, Nadia, great. I can hear you now.
The thing, Mama, that you've got to do is...
Nadia, we all hear you.
Don't give up. Please don't give up. I love you dearly. And
Nadia, we hear you. Okay. So we'll see. Let's see. So let's see. We hear there's a suggestion to give examples or anecdotes of situations where someone changes from aggressive to direct. And I'm sure this person you meant to say without the but, isn't this all very cultural? That's a very good point you're making. So, and let me just check. Nadia, have you just...
Yes. I'm sorry. I've just got to forgive me. My poor mama is in the hospital.
I heard there was a concern you had. We heard you said you loved her, and that was very sweet.
Yeah.
Nadia, just 1 second. I want to make a comment to this person's note about, yes, this can be very cultural. So one of the things I talk about in my trainings, how there's different styles of communication. And this woman did research on how we communicate either as a bowling style, a basketball style, or rugby style. So I'm just going to very briefly review this. Bowling style is what we see in Asia Pacific cultures. Basketball style is North America, Northern Europe. Rugby style is what we see in Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, Latin culture, and New York City. So somebody who is a bowler is someone who takes more space, more time, and there's more hierarchy in the communication. Somebody who's a rugby style is very comfortable and very accustomed to interrupting and talking over, and there's more energy. So these styles can have lots of misunderstandings because often there's some clashing that's going on. So it helps me to realize the good news is we can determine this very, very quickly. Do I have a bowling style person in front of me, or rugby or basketball? And then I know to adjust accordingly. So that's a general guideline that I can offer you. I hope that's useful. And now, Nadia, we have just a few minutes remaining.
Sure.
Let's just see if we can do a very, very laser coaching on what's present for you tonight.
For me, it's a difficult one. I'd say it was the same as I'm very direct. So I definitely think I fall into your popular question for tonight.
So what I want to do with you, because I know you and I have had the opportunity to do some coaching together, and you're hyper coachable, which I'm so grateful for.
Thanks.
One of the things is going slower. So now as you explain the rest, you're going to add more pausing. And I may whisper, pause, pause, pause.
Okay. Well, I've come across another scenario with the same woman that caused me trouble a year ago.
Much better.
And we have the opportunity to develop a strategy together. However.
But first cousin is however. Yet. Good.
She's already hijacked one of the tasks that actually come under my remit.
Okay, so pause for a second. Would you be willing to reword that sentence? I have the perception that she has hijacked.
Yes, I have the perception that she has hijacked a task that actually falls under my area of responsibility.
Beautiful, Nadia. The slowing down, the pausing makes a huge difference already.
Thank you.
I'm going to pretend I am this woman. Let's call me Angela. Yep. And you want to give me feedback. So let's hear you give that to me directly and still as a partner. Let's hear how that might sound. Let's pretend we're having a conversation over the phone.
Hi, Angela.
Hi, Nadia. How are you?
Very good. And you?
Yeah, a little bit too fast. Very good. So slow everything down.
Very good. And you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. What's on your mind?
I noticed you've shared an editorial calendar with our boss, Sean.
Okay, good. So you're slowing down, though we're also losing some of your lovely energy. So I want you to sound like you're in a really, really good mood and really relaxed. That's okay. So combine that.
I'll try.
Good.
I heard from Sean that you've already produced an editorial calendar for the business unit.
Good. Okay, Nadia, you're good. This is exactly what's going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that feel like you're saying exactly what you want to say to her?
Yes.
Great. That's not to say she's not going to get defensive. She's not going to get snarky. And your relationship might be somewhat damaged, so it may take time for you to repair it before you're going to be able to be direct like this in the future.
Yeah.
So if it's not damaged, then this approach should work. And if it is, then you're going, or let me say that differently. If it's not damaged, then my sense is this is the rhythm that you're going to want to develop in general overall. Lots of pauses, you in a great mood.
Sure. Thank you. Because she did actually do exactly what you've just said. Oh my goodness. Defense.
Yeah, sure. And remember, my sense knowing you is people are probably easily intimidated by you. And it's not. And so you want to remember that this is, their egos are feeling fragile and your job is to help them to save face. So when you confront, you want to do it in a gentle way.
Yeah.
Super. Thanks. Nadia, thanks for just letting me jump in like that. That was super.
No, thank you so much. I'm going to run because Mom's in a serious way. Is that okay?
My goodness.
So much. Great. Really helpful. Thank you.
Okay, take care, Nadia.
Bye.
And for everyone else, I'm going to start to wrap up. I believe there's no burning comments or questions that didn't get directed. Yes, Ron, you're so right. The Dutch have that reputation and it's not the intention. It's just a very direct style. And so it's maybe more of a closer to a rugby style in the Dutch culture than basketball. So now I want to give you all a little bit of information on things to keep you supporting you to continue to develop, master your partner mindset and behaviors. You have the website, carrollcoaching.com, which has resources for you. It's got the newsletters, and the password to get to the newsletters, if you don't know it already, is partner with a capital P. We have upcoming events. The next webinar is not till next year, January 15th, 2000. Oh, maybe that might be, is that 2019, Nicola? January 15th, is that what we decided? And
yes, that will be 2019.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I know. Okay, everybody on the call, I know next year is 2019. That's not what I meant. All right, so let's see. We've got next week, I'm running the third Leadership Presence Open program. It's going to be full. So the next one I'm going to be running is March 26, 27, also 2019, I might add. And that will most likely be on the Swiss Riviera as well. It might be a good moment now to take a screenshot of the social media channels. You may need to switch to a full screen on your device in order to see everything at the bottom of the screen. Also, if you want to check out my Partner in Action podcast series, which launched last year, you can find it on my website or you can go to iTunes. You just need to search Carroll Communication Coaching. And if you have a partner success story that you'd like to share and you'd be happy to be interviewed, please reach out to me and set up a time. We'll block about an hour. I'll give you a half an hour of complimentary coaching as a thank you, and then a half an hour to rehearse and prepare and practice your interview, which would only probably be about 10 minutes long in total for the podcast. Finally, everyone, my invitation to you on this October night is to go out there and to be the best partners you can be. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.